It is a pleasure to welcome Mr. Art Cruz. Art, since I moved to the States, we have met twice, and you have been blasted both times and totally unable to understand anything that I am saying with this accent. So I hope today goes a little better.
Let's hope. Let's hope. I think we'll do just fine. So far we've been doing good. So good.
I guess we'll take you through your life so far. Like, we're about the same kind of age, and I've got quite the fascination with California to the point that I actually moved here. So, from a metal scene point of view, what was California like to grow up in, and whereabouts exactly were you geographically?
I grew up in the San Gabriel Valley in a city called South Amani. It's about east of LA, maybe 10 minutes of proper downtown LA. So I mean, growing up here is probably the greatest thing that could have ever happened to me. It's totally molded me as a person, and all the experiences that I've gone through and everything else that I've done. It's from where I come from. So I'm very thankful to have grown up here. Lucky. California is the greatest place in the world. Los Angeles is the greatest city in the world. The San Gabriel Valley is the greatest valley in the world, and South Amani is the greatest city in the world.
I'm not going to disagree at all. I love it here, man.
Yeah, man.
So, when you think of like high school, who are the first bands that come to mind when you think about your high school years? Who were the bands that you were obsessed with during those years?
It depends on how soon. So if it was my freshman and sophomore year, would be grade 9 and 10, you would have to be talking to me about West Coast gangster rap. So that'd be like Dr. Dre, Snoop, Ice Cube, groups like that and artists like that. If you fast forward to my junior year, which is when I finally crossed over into the dark side of heavy metal, I started in a hardcore, with hardcore bands like Terror, and bands like, obviously Slayer, and Megadeth and Metallica and stuff like that. But Lamb of God obviously is at the very tip of that for sure.
Like, and when I guess that plays into why drums. I mean, if it's hip hop first, which is, beats is such a massive part of that,
Yeah.
and heavy metal, it kind of makes sense that you went for drums when it came to picking up an instrument.
Yeah, I mean, drums usually are what shook me. I mean, as a kid, I was big on anything from, the Chicano LA culture of rock, bands like Malo and Santana and bands like that. So, and War and some old bands like that. But that's when I first actually fell in love with the sound of drums. So realistically, I came from that rooted up into hip hop and, backbeats of stuff like that, anything from funk and soul music. So, it kind of was a very wide scale of drumming influences altogether. But obviously, as I tried to become more of a metal drummer, there was people like Dave Lombardo and Gene Hoglan, and obviously Chris Adler being like my favorite metal drummer growing up. So it wasn't really far off for me to kind of slide on into where I'm at now. And drumming, it's literally a roller coaster, man. I'm inspired by so many different things. I'm a big classic rock fan too, so I'm all over the place.
I mean this with
Yeah.
complete compliments and complimentary style, but your personality is 100% that of a drummer. You've got the animal from the Muppets vibe just radiates off of you. Do you think that's fair?
I love it. That's me. I mean, I'm very different off the stage and on the stage. I'm a big fan of performing. I love interacting with the fans from the drum kit. I almost kind of feel like sometimes I could be a front man stuck behind a drum set. There's a lot of energizing drummers that inspire me on a performance level too. I know my friend Jordan from As I Lay Dying was a huge inspiration on me younger, from hair whips and the intensity of drummers that hit hard and passionately. So if there's anything that I take from that is I love performing. I love playing drums, but if there's anything I'm doing before playing drums, I'm really performing for the fans. So it's like I just love connecting, man. I love being there and being able to mouth words with you, like "What's up,
Yeah.
bro?" Like, yeah, and it goes a long way because those are the kind of experiences that I had going to shows as a kid. So I'm almost like going back to that, and it's awesome to be able to do it from the other side. So it's great.
It is so wicked when there are those of us that get to do this for a living and are still 100% fans and fan friendly. I love that, man. Like when you got your big break was with Winds of Plague.
Yes.
What was it like to first go out and tour the world? Like, I mean, there's one thing loving metal and loving local shows in Cali and whatnot, but getting out to see the world, what was that like?
That was probably the best thing that could have happened. I mean, when I first started touring, I wasn't even in a band. I was in a band, but I wasn't really doing it as a band. I was a merch guy. So that was my first experiences traveling. And so I had a bit more time.
Who did you do merch for?
It was a band called Antagonist from Whittier, California. They're locally out here.
Right.
They were on Prosthetic for a quick second. I think they're doing a lot of their own stuff now. But that was like the first time I was ever going out, and then even with Suicide Silence as a drum tech. So there was times that I had more time to see things. Weirdly, as a merch guy, I was just loading in, loading out, and I would just go walk around and have all day. So I've been really lucky to be able to see things. And there's something about me when I travel, I don't get tired of seeing the same thing. If I have to see Big Ben for the 150th time, I'm gonna go see Big Ben because it's the kind of things that resonates with me, and I haven't lost that emotion of wow, I'm here in London, or wow, I'm here in Spain, or vice versa. Wherever I'm at, I really try and go see everything, even if I've seen it 150 times. And it's now we've all done that more. I think the rest of the guys in the band, we've caught ourselves on days off traveling together and walking around town, which is something new to them too, I guess. So it's just great to be able to do that still, and not lost that emotion of traveling. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, and it's helped me as a person, man. It's definitely helped me as a person.
And I wanted to ask about your experience drumming with loads of bands, because I've been absolutely caning the new Lamb of God record. It is stunning, man, and there's some real diverse shit on there from you. Especially a bunch of questions about that coming up. But like when I read, I wasn't aware of the fact that you'd played in prong for a bit, right? And prong stuff from a rhythmic side is super danceable, right? Like it's in the pocket, and even when you do something off kilter with rhythm, it's still super danceable and in the pocket. And yet there's so much diversity in what you do as a drummer today. Do you feel like every project you've been involved with has added another dimension to your drumming?
150%. 150%. There's no doubt about that. And I think you can hear that. Like I want to be able to one day, like again, which is why I built this place right here. I'm trying to like create more content for my fans and really connect with them. But there's something that question always comes up. It's like, hey man, did you do this on this song on this record? I was like, yeah, it's exactly what I did. I've been ripping myself off since the first Winds of Plague record that I did. So it's I would have to agree 150% that the experiences and the writing music with these two different groups, and it's just been a constant learning curve from the beginning. So to where I'm at now, even writing with Lamb, it's made me a drummer that I am now. And it's just crazy because I catch myself, oh man, I used to do this in Winds of Plague. Oh man, I did this on a prong record, but it just works and it flows, and it's the kind of drummer that yeah, man. So I mean, at the end of the day, I'm very thankful. Again, I'm stoked that I can rip myself off and become this entity that I am.
I loved seeing that there was some really left of center stuff as well. Like I was stunned that you did a stint with Erasmus.
Oh, that was funny because it was more of the band that was opening, Kaloger from Italy, but we were touring with Erasmus, and there was always stuff going down between both bands. So that was cool. And that was a weird experience too, because that's so different, even playing with the band like Kloger and touring with Erasmus and doing all these weird different projects that I've never seen myself doing it. But that was one of those things where I started to realize, like, man, I should not say no to anything that I've been asked of doing, and I try and do it all. Like, it's really interesting and different, and I feel like it just constantly makes me a better player and a better human. to be around all these different worlds, man. So that was cool. That was a great experience. I don't know if I'll ever do it again, but that was cool.
There was,
Yeah, yeah,
I was like one of the big questions is usually at this point in time with someone who's in your position is like, when did you first meet the Lamb of God guys? But there's a photo that's done the rounds that lets people know exactly when you first met the Lamb of God guys.
yeah. I mean, there's even, I have so many pictures in the vault that I haven't shared yet that are amazingly awesome and hilarious at the same time. But I remember waiting. I was that kid, man. I used to wait, and it was me and my friend Josh in my first band, and we waited at the Wiltern in LA. It had to have been 2005 or something like that. I can't remember the year. It was Lamb of God, Trivium, Machine Head, and Gojira. I believe it was Gojira's first tour out here. But those are the kind of times that I remember waiting like a super fan in the back, like trying to get a glimpse of somebody. Who is it? You know? So I've done that. I've been that kid, and that was technically the first time I met some of them in reality. But
Yeah.
over the course of years, and as I was touring more with Wins, we had just a lot of mutual friends, as you do as you get in bands, you start making friends. And the next time I actually had met them was they were on tour with God Forbid, and I can't remember who the heck else. I feel like those bands have toured a lot together, but this had to have been in 2008 or 9. And Winds of Plague had a day off. We were on a headlining tour with the Murs, the Atticus Metal Tour or something like that. And we had a day off, and we went to go see Lamb of God, and I was losing my mind because our merch girl used to run Lamb of God's like fan club, I think. Her name was Katie, and she's like, yeah, they invited us, let's go. And I was obviously fucking losing my mind because I'm already still in full-on fan mode. I've never come across that. So then fast forward again, and it wasn't until truly where we became friends and made a true friendship was in 2010 on the Mayhem Fest that Winds of Plague did. It was Korn, Lamb of God, Zombie, Five Finger Death Punch, and like all kinds of other bands. That was a great year.
Decent summer, man. Decent summer.
Yeah. So what a great, like, it was Hatebreed, Chimera, like Shadows Fall. It was ridiculous. There was so many bands, man. And I was lucky enough to have Winds of Plague on that year. And that was the year that we became really good friends. And yeah, man, that was when we were so tight, man, from the moment we met. So those guys are, obviously these guys are my best friends, they're my brothers, and it's surreal to be in Lamb of God now.
And so you were touring with Lamb of God for a while first. When and where did the time come for the "do you want to be in Lamb of God, mate" conversation?
Yeah. You know what's crazy is I had went to go see them. I was living in Toronto for about a year, and I went to go see their show, the very first Slayer leg, and that's when I just went to go reconnect. I hadn't seen them in a couple years, and we just reconnected, and we were just shooting the shit, just having fun. Saw the show. It was a great show. And it wasn't until like about a month after that they had reached out, and they were like, hey man, we can it was John Campbell called me. He's like, so what are you doing for the next few months? You know, you busy? I'm like, no, Prong's not doing much. I'm just kind of chilling right now. And that's when he initially asked me to help them out. And I was like, you fucking kidding me? It's like, yeah, man. And I left it as that, and I've always really left it as that. And I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna ride this wave, and you guys believe in me, and you wanted me to help you out initially, and it obviously bloomed to what it is now. Little did we know that was going to happen, but it did, and here we are today. And now I'm talking to you as the drummer of Lamb of God. So it's life. Life can be really crazy like that.
What was the moment that it bloomed? Like, when did that come? When the conversation that was like, "Do you want this gig full time?"
That wasn't until late. That was until really late in like last year. It had to have been after the last leg of the European tour. I can't remember the exact date, but it was about then, and we were already like talking about writing, and I was like, all right, this is kind of becoming a real thing. And it wasn't initially until then, and that's when it kind of just happened. It really just happened. There wasn't like an initiation moment of like, let's gather, let's talk. It really, and I think that's a beautiful thing because we were so connected immediately. There was no question about it. We just knew. And it was just like, there was no like, all right, let's talk about it. It was just like, let's just roll into it. Let's go. Let's write. Boom, boom, boom. And it was never really like, let's have it, you know? So it worked the way it did. And to be honest, I think that's what's very special about how it happened. I like that it happened like that. It was just one of those, like, you lock eyes with somebody at a concert for some reason, like you just know, and
Yeah.
you just have this connection, and that was what it was. And it's a beautiful thing, man. And it's obviously changed my life, and I just can't wait to play fucking shows, dude.
Oh,
Man,
mate.
we were just about to get going, and shit happens. We got to do what we got to do, and at the end of the day, I'm still excited. It's gonna be huge when we do come back. So, and we got this record to be proud of, and promote. So it's gonna be great.
So let's talk about the record itself then, because you've kind of answered one of the big questions that I had, which is Chris Adler is one of those drummers whose style is imprinted on a band. That is really difficult to do, in the same way that Joey from Slipknot had a sound and a style that was so essential to the Slipknot sound, and I guess like Travis Barker and people like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
The question that I was going to ask was, where's the line between keeping that and being Art Cruz? But when you say that he was your favorite metal drummer, Chris Adler's style is going to be somewhat included in your style, because that was the relationship you had with him as a player, and him as a player and you as a player yourself.
Yeah, very real. And the thing that's crazy is, like, you can, again, this is one of those things I want to be able to go back and like listen to like Winds of Plague albums and Prong records and show you like, there's a little Chris Adler influence. Oh, there's a little Chris Adler influence. It's how we're made as drummers, you know. It's like I watch Mike Portnoy every day. He's a huge influence on me too. And he's I can see where his influences come from, but he's Mike Portnoy. So at the end of the day, you can be influenced forever, and we can always sound like somebody else or try to sound like somebody else and emulate somebody else. But I'm never going to be Chris Adler, and I don't want to be Chris Adler. I want to be me. Like, I want to be Art Cruz, but I've been able to use what he's inspired me for and build who I am. So I'm very thankful that we worked it the way it did. And again, I credit Josh Wilbur all the time, our producer. He comes from drum roots. So
Right.
There was really something about having that person like that to help almost extract these things, because he sees something that a lot of the times, if you have to have an outside look to see deeper of what you're actually doing, you know what I'm saying? So he was able to really like, yo, like, can you do this? Can you do this? How about try this? And it was just really like, he took me out of my comfort zone as well, but at the same time really like just changed the game. Totally changed the game and helped me as a player. So I'm just thankful that he was able to do that. And again, I was lucky to be able to create what I did and not lose that Lamb of God sound. It's a Lamb of God sound. It's not the sound of the drummer. It's like, you need Bonham for Led Zeppelin, but if you don't have Jimmy Page, you don't have Led Zeppelin. It's like it's a formula. So at the end of the day, I have to keep that sound, and that's what it is. And I pay homage to the drum parts a lot, because that's what it is. That's a Lamb of God sound. You know what I'm saying? So it's worked out great. And again, we've been messing around. Like I always mess around now, just playing along to some of the songs that we recorded already from the record. And I catch myself just going above and beyond even more. And I was talking with Josh, and he was like, I think because you're comfortable at this point, you've already got that record out of the way. And you know how to work with the guys. So I think you're just like, now you're just going in. So to be honest, I'm excited for the next one.
Well,
I'm ready for the next one, man. I hope we can start writing the next one. I mean, it's like, I'm that excited for what we've done, and it's going to be great, man. It's going to be great.
Something that I really want to credit you for as well when it comes to this record. Like I say, I have absolutely slammed this album for a couple of weeks. There are moments that you bring to Lamb of God that feels slightly different. And what I mean by that is, in amongst the trademark, like, this is to me quintessential Lamb of God. The sound of the record is like, if you like Lamb of God, you're going to lose your shit for this record. And if you don't like Lamb of God, you have shit in your ears anyway. But there are bits where you throw full 4/4 stomp, and it feels very different inside the Lamb of God record. Like, don't get me wrong, the first time I heard it, the bit that blew my skirt up was when Roots starts and you go full thrash metal. But there are so many bits on this record where the 4/4 stomp feels like a fucking pickaxe to the head.
Oh man,
it's such a new thing for Lamb of God, which is exciting as for a band this far into their career.
Yeah, I think less is more sometimes, you know, and I mean that with respect to the crazy drummers that are doing incredible things. But there is something about when you really dial it back that has a heavier effect, and it's just what happens. And when I first started listening to heavy music, I was listening to obviously this new wave of American metal, the Lamb of God, the Killswitch, the As I Lay Dying, you know, those bands like that, and they were so rooted by hardcore music and stomp hardcore music that's what inspired me. There's a lot of inspirations of hardcore music too. So that is very much a Killswitch Engage thing. I mean, I remember the first time hearing some of those Killswitch stomps, and I was like, the fact that Justin plays a 4-piece kit and he makes it sound like a monstrosity, and he's just ka ka ka, and I'm just like, this is the heaviest of all time. But it's because you're playing as a band. You're playing as a group. You're not overpowering each other. You're literally one band, one sound. Like, that's such a marching band thing to say, but it's real. You're so much more powerful together. So, and I think the first time I had brought that idea was on Memento Mori at the after coming out of the bridge, the big breakdown, and then just coming back in, but stomping it. I'm like, I felt that. I felt that it just needed it. It just needed just that. You know what I'm saying? So there's a couple songs on the record that just smash with that, and it's because it's almost frustrating. Like, I'm like, you get mad that it's so simple, but it's because you're mad that you're like, I hate that it's so easy, but it's so heavy. So I mean, it's just like, I remember hearing a Behemoth record when they dialed the drums down, and it was just like, and I was like, oh my God, this is like ridiculous. So to be honest, those are the kind of experiences that I've had listening to other albums and bands to bring some shit like that to the table. So, and I'm glad the guys liked it. Lamb's never had something like that. So a couple closed hi-hat grooves from my funky style that I've grew up doing. So I mean, there's a lot of cool shit in there, man. It's a lot of cool shit.
I love it. And being here now in a situation where the record's finished, it's done, it's dusted, it's out in a couple of weeks' time. Is it killing you just waiting for the world to open up? Because like it's killing me to see when Lamb of God are going to be playing in LA. Yeah, man.
We were just about to do that tour with Megadeth, and or it should have actually started in a couple of days, sadly. But it's crazy to me that I still haven't. It's been over 2 years, almost 2 years, and I haven't played in Los Angeles yet. So it's like, the thirst is there, man. I can't wait to play in my city. You know, I've told you I love LA so much, man. And it's a beautiful thing to be from here. And I don't care where it is at this point, man. If we have to play at the damn Whiskey one day, or whatever, I just, you know what I'm saying? But I'm waiting for that moment. I'm excited for the album. I'm excited for people to hear it and just get out. It's just going to be a celebration, man. I think the time is due. It's overdue. And what the songs are about, Randy and Mark, man, the way they were writing these lyrics, it's like they saw the future. But at the end of the day, this shit's been going on since forever, and they've had the same beliefs since forever. So I think it just hits. Oh man, what a pain! We'll try it again then. I don't know what.
Oh, it's fucking brilliant to have you here. I'm so glad that the record is as brilliant as it is. Self-titled Lamb of God record is out in a couple of weeks. We're going to have Mark Morton on the show next week. We'll have Randy Blythe on the week after. I can see you've built your own studio. Quick question before you go. Are you going to be on Twitch?
I'll have to try.
All right. Good
man. Thank you for having me, man.
My pleasure, man. So we'll keep you up to date with all things Art Cruz, and self-titled Lamb of God records out in a couple of weeks' time. Cheers for your time, Art.